Hi and welcome to my latest vlog, which is all about coloured cosmetics. So many of my clients over the years, when they've come to me for colour analysis, have asked the question, does the shade of colour and their makeup choices, does that extend over once they understand which colours suit them? And the answer to that is yes. So once we understand which shades of colour best suit our complexion, we can then go out and shop very confidently and successfully for our coloured cosmetics, and knowing that they will sit comfortably with our complexion. The whole idea of wearing makeup is to enhance our natural looks and to sit in harmony with our natural colouring. So I'm going to work with the seasonal method, which is how I work colour analysis with my clients. This may be new to you, this may already be something that's familiar, but I will take it and break it down into the different makeup items and the sorts of shades that you should be selecting to suit your colour characteristics. It is worth adding just at the start of this vlog that within each season or family of colour, there are a huge variety of different hair colours, eye colours and complexions that can all mix. So there will be subtle differences within each season. So for example's sake, within a winter season, you could have somebody who is very, very dark brown, almost black hair, very, very fair skin, but with dark eyes. Equally, you can have somebody who actually is sort of a platinum blonde with piercing blue eyes and a slightly creamier complexion. They both sit within the winter season, but the makeup advice that we would give them would be slightly different. One would be erring towards shades of colour that are deeper, the individual that's got the depth of colour to their hair, the darker brown. We would be erring towards deeper shades with regards to eyeshadow. And the individual that's got the blonde hair and the blue eyes, then we are likely to be erring towards more vibrant shades to suit their colouring. So there's always some subtle differences, but the shades that we're working with are the same. I'd also like to add at the front end of this, with regards to foundation, highlighter, concealers and any powder that you may be using, that always needs to be matched to the skin tone, and is something that we would do at the start of a consultation. I can feel another blog or certainly some top tips coming on about that to share how you select the right types of concealers and foundations for your complexion at a later date. So back now to the coloured cosmetics. So I mentioned earlier on, starting with the winter season. So as I've shared, winter season sits on this side of the wheel. So it has a cool or a bluey undertone to it, with depth of colour and clarity. So individuals that wear these shades need to be thinking about deeper shades with a bluey undertone to them. So the sorts of eyeshadows we would be working to are some of these blues. So again, we've got the icy white to start with that helps to create contrast. Okay. We've then got some of these pinks into a grey. They can work really very well. And then lastly, we have these cooler shades again, so some purples and mauves. So they are fantastic, whoops, dropped the brush there, some fantastic eyeshadow colours to be experimenting with. Obviously, again, if you're deeper, better suited to the deeper shades, then we would err on the deeper shades of the eyeshadows. So maybe something like this to begin with, all over, and then we would focus on the deeper shades. I wouldn't muck around so much with this particular shade in the middle. Also worth noting, when we work with eyeshadow, we always wear a different shade of eyeshadow to the colour of our eyes. And that's to help create contrast and allow the eyes to stand out. So if you've got blue eyes, then we would avoid wearing blue eyeshadow. If you've got brown eyes, then we avoid wearing brown eyeshadow, green eyes, green eyeshadow, and so on. Okay, so that's the eyeshadows for the winter season. Eyeliner, if that's your thing. I've got here a bright sort of turquoisey blue. That can look absolutely fantastic for those that suit the more vibrant shades. I've also got a navy blue, a charcoal grey or a black would work equally as well for the winter palette. If we come on to our cheeks, we would be looking for a nice pink shade, okay, which has the cooler undertone to it. Mascara would be black. It could be burgundy, it could be grey, it could be a navy. Black tends to be the most commonly used. And then with the lipsticks, think pink is kind of my motto for the winter season. So we've got this lovely deeper shade of pink just here and a brighter fuchsia shade of pink in this hand. If I also said to you, think about letterbox red, blue reds, they would work very, very successfully for individuals with the winter colouring. Moving on now to the autumn season. I'll just bring the colour wheel back into it. So the autumn season sits down here. So they have suited to shades of colour that have a warm undertone with depth and softness to them. So if I start again with the eyeshadows, we're looking at these lovely olive greens as an example. Deeper shades of brown, chocolate brown would work very well, as would this lovely, it's one of my favourites actually, this lovely teal blue. So if you were to think of the colours of the peacock, that's where you're heading with regards to shades of colour that work really, really well for the autumn season. Some really nice sort of rich golden shades would also work very, very successfully if that's your preference. Mascara this time we go towards a brown black because the brown has the warm undertone, the black has the cool undertone. With regards to eyeliners, you can I've got just a fudge here, which is quite a deep shade. You could go darker than that. You could go chocolate brown if that's your preference. Again, with with eyeliners, again, I've got a dark brown here that would work really well. Again, you could use a deep moss green. You could use a teal blue if that's your preference. So this is just sort of a starting block, but you can just expand out and have some really good fun experiment and just see how you get on and your preferences. With regards to lipstick, we're thinking about deeper, softer shades. So I've got some lipstick on the outside of that one, but there we go. So the chocolate brown and the slightly, that's almost like a coppery shade of brown there. So all of these would work very well. Again, think about where you sit within the autumn season. So if you're definitely a deep autumn, then the deeper shade, with regards to lipstick, for example, will work better on you than the copper shade that I shared with you. If you're more suited to the warmer shades within the autumn season, then the copper shade will work better. I mean, we're talking subtle differences now, but just have an experiment and see how you get on. Lastly, for the blusher, we need a more orangey or a warmer hue. Okay, so that has a warmer or more yellowy undertone to it, which suits the colouring of those that fit within the autumn season. So that's the autumn. Then we come on to summer. So I'm switching back over to the other side of the colour wheel now. Summer sits down the bottom here, so they have a cool undertone, but softness. Okay, so everything's just quite hazy. It's all about blend. It's very easy on the eye. So I'm going to come back to some of the shades that I've used earlier on, or would use earlier, that I've talked about with regards to the winter season. But this time I'd be focusing on these lighter, softer shades. So I wouldn't be using the deeper purples. The deeper purples. I'd be focusing on these lighter shades here. Maybe that one. Likewise, these lighter shades of pink. Again, the mascara would be black because they sit on the cooler side of the colour spectrum or the colour wheel. And the lip liners would be a lighter pink. So again, if I show you the winter, you've got that deep plum. This time, this is called Toffee Apple. It's one of my favourites, but it's just a lighter shade of pink. Okay. Mascara, I've just mentioned, would be black. If you're using eyeliner, again, a soft grey could work really well. A softer navy could work very well. A plum could work very successfully as well if you found one and you fancied giving it a go. With regards to lipstick, again, think pink. And this time, if you can see there, they're coming much softer. This one actually looks slightly brown, but I have to assure you, once it is on, it is definitely just a very, very nice neutral shade of colour that works very, very well for the summer palette. But we're thinking lighter for summer, deeper for the winter palette. And then lastly, as with the shades of colour from the winter palette, we'd be looking for a pinkier blusher that would complement those that sit within the summer palette. And then lastly, but by no means least, we would have the spring season. So individuals that sit within the spring season sit down the warmer side of the wheel, just here, and they have clarity and they are light. So it's warm, light and bright. So we need to reflect that through in the cosmetics and shades of colour that we wear. So eyeshadows would be light golden browns, beiges. So again, I've got that lovely light green there. That's a lighter beige that I'm showing now. And I've got these lighter shades here. Again, I wouldn't entertain this brown. I would use that for an autumn season, but for these two would be ideal for a spring season for eyeshadows. Okay. As with the autumn palette, we would be looking for a brown black or a brown mascara, just because it has the warm undertone to it. With regards to eyeliners, because spring's like a splash of colour, you could pop on a nice bright turquoise, you could pop on a nice bright green. If that's not your thing, then you can just opt for a nice, easy shade of brown. Okay, but not too dark. I've also just missed out these two shades again, which again are great neutral shades for eyeshadows to sit within the spring season. So I must just share those with you and to include them. Okay. When it comes to lip liner, this is called Brown Sugar. This again is just much lighter and works very, very well for the spring season. Okay. And with blusher, I tend to, I've got these lovely, just see those there without trying to drop them all out, these lovely bronzing balls. So if I show you, I've got the bronzing balls which are much lighter and brighter, okay, and then this is just a deeper shade which works better for the autumn season. The bronzing balls are better for the spring season. And then lastly we come down to lipsticks. So again we're thinking lighter and brighter, so corals work very well. I've got this lovely corally shade just here, which funny enough, if I pop it in front of my jumper, matches beautifully. I haven't actually got this one on today, I've got a slightly different one called Passion Fruit, which I love, but this is also one of my favourites. And then we've got the slightly lighter sort of fudge shades if you prefer something a little bit more natural, or if you're more suited to the warmer or the lighter shades within the spring season. I happen to be suited to the more vibrant shades, so I always tend to wear a more vibrant lipstick when I'm popping my makeup on. The last piece of makeup or colour cosmetics I would just like to touch on are eyebrows. So I love, again, this is the same brand that I have been using for many years. I love this little eyebrow palette. I find eye pencils very difficult to work with. I think they're quite definite. If you don't get it quite right, or if you're new to filling in your eyebrows, then they can be a bit difficult to backtrack if you find yourselves having a bit overzealous with your application. So I really like this sort of thing that is actually powder based, and it comes with a fab little applicator like so, which is just makes it very easy for filling in the eyebrows. And I also love, and can't rate highly enough, and these are readily available now from a whole variety of different companies, I love these different eyebrow stencils. So you just pop them over, you find one that follows the natural line of your eyebrow, pop it over, and it just makes it easier for filling them in. There's also this wonderful highlighter or illuminator that you pop just underneath your brow, which gives a more definite shape to the eyebrow. So that's everything you need to know about the basics of coloured cosmetics with regards to suiting your colour characteristics. I hope it's been helpful. If any of you have got any questions, then please fire them over. I will happily answer them as always. And if any of you are still finding your way or even new to trying out with colour cosmetics and you'd like a little bit more help, please do get in touch. I'll be more than happy to have a chat with you and give you some guidance and pointers in the right direction. As always, look after yourselves, have a great one, and I'll speak to you again soon. Cheers, bye for now.